Goodness. My freshman year, my best friend attempted suicide. That was like the turning point for me, where I realized that like I can't carry their burdens myself. I was like doing it the wrong way. Yes, I had good intentions, but I wasn't doing it well. My name is Svenja. Hear my story. I was born in Reno, Nevada, but I grew up here in Milton, Georgia. So obviously a very great area. I like couldn't complain about anything about how I grew up. I'm very grateful for it. I think one of my fondest memories was that my dad was both me and my sister's soccer coach for like years growing up. So that was really sweet. It like always meant the most to me, like when my dad, like I'd come off the field and like he'd be like, I'm proud of you. Things definitely got more like real, I guess. I think everybody would be able to relate to that, like going from elementary school to middle school. So I think it's in that time that you kind of like start to like question like, who am I? Like, what's the point, I guess? Like, where do I fit in? And like a lot of pressures where like in elementary school, you're kind of like bopping around, like doing whatever. But then in middle school, you're like, oh, like what am I supposed to do? So like 6th grade and 7th grade, it was a lot of trying to like squeeze into the popular crowd or whatever. I had like one best friend, and everything that she was doing, I made sure I was like doing the same thing and like trying to do it best. So like being a cheerleader, like dating certain boys, and if you can even call it dating in middle school, but that was like all I was striving for, was like acceptance into that group. And her acceptance specifically like meant the most to me. Me fitting in wasn't always a conscious thing, like me thinking I have to do this to be that way, or like going against who I thought I was. It was just like every day just following the crowd. So like I already said, like being a cheerleader, I did it just because all my friends were doing it, and I was horrible at it. I was so bad at it. Early on in high school, after I first came to know Jesus, I found that most of my friends that were surrounding me all had mental health issues. And so being the Christian and like having just come to know Jesus and like how loved I am, I wanted to like show other people that I loved them too. So it was in that time that I started to like really find myself digging into like what they were going through, because myself and my story, I never experienced anything like that. It was like pretty smooth sailing. So I really felt like it was my like duty to carry their burdens. So that started like really early on in high school. And then my freshman year, my best friend attempted suicide. So that was like the turning point for me, where I realized that like I can't carry their burdens myself. I was like doing it the wrong way. Yes, I had good intentions, but I wasn't doing it well. Well, when I found out that she had attempted, obviously like my first thought is like, what did I do wrong? Like where, like how didn't I see it coming? But in the moment, I definitely didn't like realize what I had been doing wrong already. It was just like panic. It was just like fear, and obviously like sadness and stuff. So when we found out, it was like a text in a group chat, like, love you guys. And like out of nowhere, we were like, oh my gosh, something's not right. So I like couldn't drive yet. So I like ran downstairs to my parents, and I was like, we have to go to Vivian's house. And like her parents had no idea, even though I'd been like calling them the whole way over. Yeah, but so like after that, I didn't know what was going on. I knew that she was like being taken care of, but so that night when I got home, I like had no idea what to do with myself. I was like, how am I supposed to process this? So that like in my story, the reason I came to know Jesus was reading the Bible. So in that moment, I was like, I have no idea what else to do but to read the Bible. And so I flipped to a random chapter in Psalms and started reading it, and God just gave me so much comfort. I don't even remember what I read, but like after reading that chapter, I knew that like everything was gonna be okay, that God had it in his hands. So she's still my best friend. We lived together throughout all of college. But yeah, so in that time, her family, they're all non-believers. So when you first come to know Jesus, you're like so excited, you're so gassed, and you want to get everybody in on it. So I was like inviting everybody that I knew, and she was one of them, and ended up coming to church with me, and it was the first time that she ever felt like she belonged somewhere. So she bought in so fast and got really involved, and it was after she started coming to church that she attempted to take her own life. But God used that while she was in the mental hospital. The only thing she could take with her was her Bible, and the girl that she was forced to share a room with, she got to open up the Bible and read it with her and stuff inside a mental hospital. So it was really cool to hear stories on the other side of it, while it was terrifying not knowing that was going on the other end. But yeah, since then, I obviously had to learn that I couldn't fix her myself, which is still a really hard thing to rationalize. But we stayed very close, and I had a lot to learn from her about things like that, because I'm a very empathetic person, and so I wanted to feel how she was feeling, because I couldn't understand it, because mental illness is something that if you've never gone through it, it's so you can't rationalize it in your head, some of the ways that they think and feel. So on my end, a lot of the time I'm it's so easy, just do this. She's no, I can't get myself to do that. So I've learned a lot by being able to walk alongside her. Hopefully she's learned some too, but she was called into ministry, so she's working at a church right now in a student ministry. So it's a really awesome story. So this experience with my friend has definitely informed me on where I see my life going. I think God is very intentional on putting us through certain things, and having walked alongside my friend through that situation, I feel has brought me to look back and wonder, God, I think that is on purpose. Maybe this is what you have for me. So now working at a church and being surrounded by students who are probably walking through the same thing, it feels full circle. If you have experienced what I've experienced, I want to encourage you that you don't have to do it on your own, that you don't have the power to carry it on your own, or the power to save somebody or fix somebody on your own, but you have access to the person who can, and his name is Jesus. What he did for me was give me peace that I didn't have to do it by myself, and humility that I couldn't do it on my own, and the strength to help shoulder their burdens. And he can do the same thing for you.